Well, I'm not sure how to start this. I'll say this. This is going to be different from what I've posted on here so far. But I think it's going to be a beneficial thing for me to start doing, and it kind of fits the scheme of like the reaction discussion that the main channel has really been about. And I think just going forward, I will occasionally have just conversations like this with you all. And I do want to say, before we get into any kind of conversation that I'm about to have, sorry for the past couple of days not kind of uploading anything. They've been busy. I've been going all over. I mean, I've been out of town, coming back, bunch of traveling, bunch of driving. It's just been a lot. So we're getting back in. We're back in town now. We're settled down. Gonna get some stuff going back out here. Get some videos posted. But I think this is more in line with the discussion side of the reaction discussion kind of topic of this channel. And I've noticed that recently I've been thinking a lot about certain aspects of my life and things that I'm going through. Uh, it feels so silly to say this on camera, but you get to points where you tend to think you are miserable, or you think you're unhappy about something, or you think you're having a rough go at it, and then you get through that and you go, oh, that's nothing, oh, that was awful, and then you get to something else and something else and something else, and it's a compounding negativity effect, so to speak. And because you think, oh, well, this is worse, and then it really isn't, but it is at the same time, because it's worse because it's something new. And that's kind of what this has been. So to give context, the last few days, really the last few weeks, have been brutal. Uh, a lot of imposter syndrome, a lot of um, disappointment in myself, a lot of me kind of coming to terms with where I'm at in my life and what is most likely to happen within the next 10 years. Uh, and I'd be lying if I said that I wasn't worried about my family. Just, you know, besides my wife, the only immediate family I've really got is uh, some siblings that I don't have much of a connection with, and my mother and grandfather, who are getting a little older. And you know as with anybody, when you start to get older, there's certain things you think about once you pass a certain age that you didn't think about before. And it makes you kind of cherish things a little bit more as you get to that point. And I'm not special for this. This is something that everybody goes through at some point. It's hitting me at this point, and I feel like kind of early, because I'm only 23, so I'm gonna be 23. I'm not even 23 yet. Um, but what that means for me and for the channel, it is hard for me to stay consistent. Um, this is something that I've asked myself a lot of times. Uh, we can all say this. Growing up, we would watch people. Because we're part of a generation where growing up, we probably watch cartoons for a majority of the beginning of our childhood, and then switch to digital media on like YouTube and stuff like that, like streaming media. Uh, so I think a lot of people who are around my age group can agree with me when I say this. We had a lot of internet idols growing up. You had your Vanoss Gamings, you had your Markipliers, you had, for people who were more into the Minecraft side of things, you had Stampy Longnose, you had all these other people you know, that you kind of watched as a comfort growing up. And everyone said to themselves, oh, well, man, I'd love to do that. At every point in our journey, we've all tried to do YouTube and content creation and things of of that nature. And pretty sure majority of us never really followed through with any of it. But that is something that I am looking to change. I started this a couple weeks ago, like regularly uploading as more of a personal benchmark for myself to see if I can really keep up with something and not be, well, being too vulgar, a bitch about it. I'm very bad when it comes to keeping up with things. I am very lazy. It's evident in my, also ignore this, that I have to go take a shower. This is just left over from some work I did outside earlier today. It's very, very hard to not be. And it's just stuff you think about. You try to find reasons why, and this is definitely not the video we're gonna go into it in. But yeah, I mean, it's caused me to do a lot of self-reflection and think about really where I want to be. And you look back on your passions and you say to yourself, right, what did you want to do growing up? I've asked people I love this question who are going through bad times. And I said to them, there's no way you can't have anything you want to do. There was something every kid wanted to do when they were a kid. You know, for some kids, it was driving a train, simple as that. For some kids, it was flying an airplane. Some kids, it was being an astronaut. Some kids, and I can tell you for me, my personal goal was to kind of create a community, because I understood a lot of what it was like to be in a community where, or actually really not have a community to be in. Obviously I was relatively poor growing up, in terms of American standards. And, so I moved around a lot. I didn't really get the ability to go over and hang out with anyone. I never got the chance to really make solid friends because I moved a bunch. Went to, thankfully, only a handful of different schools. Otherwise, that would have gotten pretty messy. So I understood very much having a place to go for comfort and a way to like kind of just relax. Now, that I've grown a little bit, it's less of a go to a place of comfort and more of a go to a place to relax after work or whatever it is that you're doing. And it's interesting because the type of content that I aspire to make is content that is of an older style, that unfortunately does not mesh very well with how the current state of YouTube is, which is very low attention span, high hook, high grab, rapid inserts of everything everywhere. It's just not really how I've been. If anything, if I have to look to any one person who has always inspired me to want to do this, it would have to be Markiplier. Just, I mean, I've been watching him for, I mean, Christ, it's got to be, what, 10 years? I think it was 11 when I started watching, so 12 years. Um, all the way as far back, I mean, before FNAF, before Subnautica, kind of around the time of like Amnesia, probably I think a little earlier. So it's just, that's kind of my staple. That's been the content I've always enjoyed, just like subtle edits, maybe some zoom ins, maybe some auditory effects. A lot of fourth wall breaking. You know, I've never been one of those people where it's like the hyper immersion where you play the character inside. Like I'll read stuff that way, you know what I mean? But I've always been like a external, like talk to the people, like you guys are playing with me, not watching me play kind of thing. And like I said, unfortunately, that's not something that meshes very well anymore. That's a very personality based um, identity. And because of that, it takes a very, very long time. I mean, even then, to be honest, it took a long time to build, but I would argue that it took a long time then simply because it was a YouTube and streaming and content creation as a whole was a much smaller scene until the mid 2010s. Because that's really when it started to blow, like, that's really when it started to blow up, like 2012 and onward. But what's the point of this, right? Where am I getting with this? And to anyone who this is your first video seeing me, what are you going to get out of this if you actually got anything out of this enough to stay to this point? Well, this is the point of this video was, you know, a lot of self-reflection has shown me that this is absolutely, without a shadow of a doubt, what I want to do. I've loved media my whole life. I did it in high school. I was going to go into computer science just because it's a good degree, but I would have continued media study when I was going to college. I'm passionate about editing. I'm passionate about technology, all forms of it. I am cautious but accepting of all forms of technology because I think that it's just as is anything in life, a lot of things require trial and error. You know, so I think that's what a lot of this is going to be. And I'm asking that for any of you who end up seeing this video, whether it's now or in 10 years when hopefully I'm doing a little bit better, channel wise. That you either stick around and kind of join me through it, or you come to me in 5 years and you say, hey, this is what you wanted, and do you feel like you're doing this? Kind of just a way to hold myself accountable, even if there's nobody to know, you know, even if this video or the channel never gets traction, it's still a way for me to hold myself accountable, and it's something I can look back on in a few years and hear myself say, and I think it's a good thing. It'll kind of kick me in the ass, so to speak. But yeah, I think that's the main gist of it. So to round off what you would get out of this as a viewer, is someone being earnest, saying that it's not going to be perfect and I'm going to suck for a while. As does everybody, and typically it's not spoken about, but I hope this breaks down a wall, so to speak, and helps make this a little closer to what I'm talking about with just the transparency and the kind of communal feeling, you know, because I can tell you, no diss to him, it clearly works, but I will never have a Mr. Beastie type of, in this video today, it's not really what I am. I mean, I'm energetic, and I'm not energetic now because I'm tired and it's late, but I'm energetic, but I will never have that like announcer voice, you know. It's not my thing. So I think that's about it, at least for what I want to cover now. We'll have a discussion further in the future about the psychology behind what I'm feeling. But yeah, I think that's the majority right now. If you stuck around for this part, I appreciate it. You're going to be one of the, if my channel metrics are anything accurate right now, 18% that are going to have the average of doing so. So thank you. And I look forward to seeing you all on the flip side. Adios.